The wind howled through the open fields, carrying with it the sound of laughter that wasn't kind. Emma stood with her back pressed against the rough bark of an oak tree, ropes digging into her wrists. She wasn't the kind of girl who made enemies. Quiet, gentle, and always keeping to herself on her small farm. But sometimes, the quiet ones drew the worst kind of attention. The local bullies had cornered her after she refused to give up the little basket of vegetables she had been carrying to the market. "What's so special about you, farm girl?" One sneered, pulling the basket from her hands. When she tried to resist, they tied her up like some cruel joke, leaving her trapped against the tree as they jeered. "Let's see how long it takes your tough husband to save you."
"Oh, wait, you don't have one,"
one shouted before the group walked off, laughing. They didn't know the truth. Emma lowered her head, feeling the sting of tears. She hated crying, hated giving anyone the satisfaction of seeing her weak. But in that moment, she also remembered what her husband, Daniel, had told her before leaving for his last mission. "If you're ever in trouble, don't hesitate. Call me. No matter where I am, I'll find a way." Her phone was still in her pocket, miraculously untouched. With trembling fingers, she fished it out and pressed a familiar number. The call went through on the first ring. "Emma." Daniel's voice was steady, calm, like always. Her voice cracked. They tied me to a tree, Daniel. I'm scared." There was silence for only half a second before his tone shifted into something steel, hard. "Stay calm, love. Tell me where you are. Don't be afraid. I'm coming." Emma whispered her location, and then the call ended. She sat there, breathing unevenly, trying to keep faith in his words. What the bullies didn't know was that Daniel wasn't just any husband. He was Delta Force, a soldier trained to endure, to fight, to protect. The minutes crawled by. Emma's heart pounded with every gust of wind. Doubt crept in. What if he couldn't make it in time? What if the bullies came back? But just when the fear grew too heavy, she heard the crunch of tires on gravel. A black SUV rolled to a stop at the edge of the field. The door swung open, and out stepped Daniel. Tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in dark jeans and a jacket, his presence was like a storm rolling in, silent, powerful, unstoppable. "Emma," he called gently, rushing to untie her. His hands were careful, tender, though his jaw was tight with fury. Once free, she collapsed into his arms, burying her face against his chest. "You're safe now. I've got you." But Daniel wasn't finished. He glanced toward the road, where voices echoed. The bullies had returned, still laughing at their handiwork. They froze when they saw him. Something in his eyes made their confidence falter instantly. "Ooh, who are you?" one stammered. Daniel stepped forward, his voice low but lethal. "The man who's about to teach you what happens when you prey on the innocent." The bullies tried to puff themselves up, but within seconds the scene shifted. Daniel moved with precision, calm, controlled, almost terrifying in his efficiency. One tried to swing at him, but Daniel disarmed him in a single motion, sending him sprawling to the dirt. Another lunged, only to find himself face first in the ground, his arm pinned behind him. It wasn't chaos. It wasn't wild. It was discipline, the kind born of years in Delta Force. And the message was clear. This was no ordinary husband, and Emma was no ordinary woman. She was his world, and he would fight anyone who tried to harm her. When it was over, the bullies scrambled away, bruised and shaken, muttering apologies as they fled. Daniel didn't chase them. He didn't need to. His presence alone had already shattered their arrogance. Emma, still shaken, whispered, "What if they come back?" Daniel turned to her, cupping her face gently. "Then they'll find me waiting. But I doubt they'll ever be that foolish again." She let out a shaky laugh through her tears, clinging to him tightly. In that moment, the farm didn't feel so lonely anymore. She realized that strength wasn't always about how loud you were, or how much you fought back with words. Sometimes strength was in the quiet endurance, and in having someone who stood beside you, no matter the odds. Over the next few days, word spread quickly. Everyone in town had heard about what happened. The same bullies who once mocked Emma now kept their distance, too afraid to even make eye contact. People started treating her differently, not just as a quiet farm girl, but as someone who had the kind of strength that came from love and loyalty. Daniel didn't brag about what he'd done. He never needed to. To him, protecting Emma was never an act of heroism. It was simply his duty, his promise. And Emma. She carried herself a little taller now. Not because she had a Delta Force husband by her side, but because she finally understood something. Being quiet didn't mean being weak. Her silence, her patience, her kindness, that was her strength. And when combined with Daniel's unshakable devotion, there was nothing the world could throw at them that they couldn't overcome together.